Okay, so you know how sometimes life just feels overwhelming? Like there's just so much noise, so many choices, and you're kind of looking for a map. Well, today we're going to cut through some of that. We're doing a deep dive, really trying to get to the heart of a powerful idea about internal guidance. We're drawing heavily from James Allen's classic,
Mm.
As a Man Thinketh, but, giving it a modern spin with what we know now about psychology. The mission here is practical. It's about getting you the tools, the actual strategies, to use the power of your mind, that immense power, to shape your character, your world, even your destiny.
Exactly. And it all starts with this surprisingly simple idea from Alan. Your thoughts, they're not just sitting there watching things happen. No, they are the active architects, the builders of your reality, essentially the world you experience on the outside. Well, a huge part of that is a reflection of what's going on inside. It really makes you think about personal agency, doesn't it?
It really does.
Yeah.
And let's make that concrete. Imagine, say, two people walk into the same tough meeting. One person immediately thinks, oh no, this is impossible, feels that dread. The other looks at it and thinks, interesting puzzle, feels kind of energized. The meeting itself hasn't changed one bit.
Right.
What's different is their internal setup,
Mm-hmm.
their mental wiring determines if they see a threat or, an opportunity.
Absolutely. And that setup, that internal framework, it's something we build. Alan had that great mental garden analogy. It might sound a bit old-fashioned maybe, but if you look at it through cognitive science, it's spot on. Thoughts are seeds. Your life, your character, that's the hardest.
Mhm.
So if you're consistently planting, let's say, seeds of optimism or gratitude or just curiosity, you're actually wiring your brain for those positive outcomes, for joy, for success. But if you let the anxieties, the old resentments, the what ifs take over,
They become the weeds.
they become the weeds. Exactly. And here's the kicker. Even if you do nothing, if you just leave the garden untended, the weeds grow anyway. Passivity often defaults to the negative stuff.
Okay, but we need to pause here for a second.
Yeah.
Because someone listening might be thinking, hang on, what about real hardship, like a toxic workplace or systemic issues? Are you saying that's my fault?
That's a really crucial point. And no, Alan's work or this perspective isn't about denying that real suffering or external challenges exist. They absolutely do. It's about identifying the one area where you always have control. Your response, your internal reaction. Character isn't about, avoiding the storm. It's about the mental structures you've built that determine how you navigate that storm.
Right.
Because character is built by those repeated mental pathways. Think about that self-doubt loop. I'm not good enough. Repeating that thought isn't just a feeling. It physically grooves a pathway in your brain. So when a challenge comes up, your brain almost automatically goes looking for evidence to prove that negative thought right. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy.
That you're primed for it.
You are. But the flip side is courage. Courage is maybe the best example of this mental discipline in action.
It's not like you're born brave.
Not at all. It's a choice. It's choosing, when fear is right there, to consciously think something different. Like, okay, I can handle this, or I'll just take one step. That repetition, deliberately choosing that thought again and again, that's what builds the mental muscle of courage. It becomes part of your character.
Okay, so moving from general character building,
Yeah.
let's talk about those specific scripts running in our heads. Limiting beliefs. These are like invisible walls, aren't they? Deep assumptions, like believing, oh, I'm just not creative, or I could never learn that new tech skill.
Exactly. And they feel very real. That belief, I'm not smart enough for this new field, it acts like a barrier. But it's an internal barrier. And often it's kind of protective, isn't it?
How do you mean?
Well, if you believe you can't do it, then you don't have to try.
Well-
You avoid the risk of failure, the vulnerability of learning something new. So the belief stops you from taking the very actions you need to disprove it. The belief controls the behavior.
So how do we even start to take these down? They often feel so ingrained, like they've been there forever.
It takes a deliberate process, like a focused investigation. First step is identification. You got to get really specific, not just, I'm bad with money, but maybe I believe I'll always struggle financially no matter what I do. Pinpoint it. Second, inquiry. This is key. Ask yourself, is this belief 100% true all the time? Seriously, hunt for counter evidence. Can you find even one instance where it wasn't true? You almost always find the belief is built on, well, shaky ground,
Yep.
selective memory.
Oh, you force yourself to see the exceptions, the contradictions.
Precisely. And then the third step is reframing. Understand where it came from. Maybe that belief kept you safe somehow when you were younger. But ask, is it serving me now? Often it's not. So you reframe it. Instead of, I'm terrible at public speaking, Try, I'm currently developing my public speaking skills. See the difference? It shifts from a fixed state to a process, from I am to I am becoming.
That's huge. And connecting this now to our physical selves, this is where Alan's ideas really mesh with modern science, isn't it? The mind-body connection is real. It's physiological, like constant worry or self-criticism.
Yeah.
The brain reads that as a threat,
Yeah.
right? A real ongoing danger.
Absolutely. When your inner narrative is just disaster scenarios or harsh self-judgment, you're basically flipping the switch on your body's stress response system, the HPA axis. And that means a steady drip, drip, drip of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline.
Which we know isn't good long-term.
It's really not. Chronically high levels mess with everything. Your immune system gets suppressed, inflammation goes up, it can impact sleep, digestion, even how quickly you age at a cellular level. You're essentially putting your body in a constant state of low-grade emergency.
Wow. Okay, so that explains why simple practices can be so powerful, like keeping a gratitude journal. It sounds almost too simple, but it actually changes your physiology.
It does. Consciously focusing on things you're grateful for, even small things, helps to dial down those stress hormones. It strengthens the rest and digest part of your nervous system, the parasympathetic system. It's like taking your foot off the brake slightly, allowing the system to run more smoothly. Mindfulness practice does something similar.
How so?
It trains you to notice those looping anxious thoughts without getting swept away by them, to interrupt the rumination. That allows your nervous system to settle back to its baseline. It's not just woo-woo stuff. This is backed by solid science.
Okay, so we've got the internal garden. We're challenging limiting beliefs, understanding the mind-body link. Now, how does this internal state actually affect our external world? Alan talks about attracting things like an energetic signature. How do we translate that?
Yeah, that language can sound a bit mystical, but think about it in terms of, say, behavioral signaling and confirmation bias. When Alan says you attract what resonates with your internal state, he's describing a real psychological feedback loop. If you constantly feel inadequate at work, for example, well, it's not usually some cosmic force holding you back.
It's how you show up.
Exactly, it's confirmation bias. You might hesitate to speak up, avoid challenging projects, use tentative body language, all because your thoughts are predicting failure. So you unconsciously signal that inadequacy, and then guess what? People might overlook you, confirming your original belief. You're actually pushing away opportunities through your behavior.
And the opposite is true too, right? If you cultivate that sense of curiosity, of capability.
Right. If you genuinely believe you can learn and contribute, you signal that. You seem more open, more competent. That mindset does attract mentors, interesting projects, chances for growth, because people see you're ready and willing. That's the conscious creation part, aligning your internal belief and then acting in line with it.
Which leads us to purpose.
Yeah.
Once we've done some internal clearing, we need direction. Purpose isn't necessarily some grand singular mission, is it?
No, I don't think so. It's more personal. It's that unique mix of your values, what you're passionate about, your talents, and where you feel you can make a difference, even in small ways. It's your internal compass.
How do you find that?
It starts with honest self-reflection, like really asking, what makes me lose track of time? What problems genuinely bother me or intrigue me? Forget what you think you should care about, what actually pulls you. And once you have a sense of it, then visualization becomes incredibly important.
Not just daydreaming, though.
No, much more deliberate. Vivid visualization. Engaging all your senses. What does achieving that goal feel like, smell like, sound like? You're building the neural pathways for success before you even start the physical actions. It makes the goal feel more real, more attainable.
But vision alone isn't enough. You need action. This brings us to what you call the triad of achievement.
Yes. You need three things working together. First, the thought, the clear idea, the vision. Second, the will or resolve, that sustained energy, the discipline to keep going. And third, the action, the actual execution, doing the work. People often underestimate the will part. They think passion is enough.
But passion fades sometimes.
It does. Resolve is what carries you through when it gets tough, when the initial excitement wears off. It's the commitment. And this is where practical planning comes in. Breaking down that big vision, using tools like SMART goals, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound. It makes the mountain feel climbable because you're just focused on the next few steps.
Love that. But what about just starting? That initial push can be the hardest part. Inertia is a killer.
It really is. We need tricks to overcome that initial friction.
Like the 2-minute rule.
Exactly. Such a simple but effective psychological hack. If something takes less than 2 minutes, just do it now. Don't even think about it. Answer that email. Put that dish in the dishwasher. And for bigger tasks, Commit only to the first 2 minutes. Don't commit to writing the whole report. Commit to opening the file and writing the title.
That first tiny win gets you moving.
It breaks the mental block, activates the reward system, and you can boost this even more with implementation intentions. This is about pre-deciding your actions to bypass willpower debates in the moment.
Give me an example.
Instead of vaguely say, I should exercise more, you create a specific plan. If it's 7 a.m. on Tuesday morning, then I will put on my workout clothes and go downstairs. You use your thinking brain up front to program the habit so you don't have to rely on motivation when you're tired or stressed. It becomes more automatic.
Okay, so bringing this all together as we wrap up, the main message seems to be that self-mastery isn't a final destination you reach.
Not at all. It's an ongoing process. It's the continuous, intentional work of cultivating your mind and remembering that the most significant shifts don't happen because the world outside finally changes to suit you. They happen when you decide to change your internal world first. Understanding this, taking responsibility for your inner state, that's not a burden. It's actually incredibly freeing. It gives you the power to choose your response no matter what's happening externally. That choice is your superpower.
That freedom applies right now, doesn't it? Like, think about something small but annoying that might happen today. Maybe bad traffic, a frustrating email, a delay. You can't control the event, but you absolutely control your internal reaction. You can choose frustration, anger, let the stress hormones flow, or you can choose to breathe, to maybe use that moment differently, perhaps refocus on your purpose, listen to something useful. The situation is the same, but your experience of it is completely transformed by that internal choice. So here's the final thought for you to take away. Find just one small moment today, one tiny instance where you notice a default negative thought pattern starting up, and consciously choose a different thought, a more empowering one. That single small act of choosing. That's where building the reality you want truly begins. Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive into becoming the architect of your own reality. We'll talk to you next time.